Welcome to the Speak Your Success podcast. Come one, come all. Welcome to the Speak Your Success podcast. I'm your host, TEDx speaker and best-selling author Jonathan Jones. And today we have a special Father's Day edition of the Speak Your Success podcast. That's right, this one's for the fathers. We're going to get into a few different things today, and also we're going to give you an exclusive offer from Amazon today so you can get your Father's Day gift ordered if you have not done that just yet. But before we get into that, today I want to kick off this review of the week, and this comes from Miss Alexia of the 10 and 2 podcast. She went on to say, motivational, insightful, and necessary. Jonathan's podcast touches on real topics and the raw realities of what we millennials face. He has gathered my life on more than one occasion and given me the motivation I need to do better. Miss Alexia, we want to shout you out and say thank you for rocking with the Speak Your Success podcast. If you all would like to follow Miss Alexia, I would encourage you to do so on Instagram. Her handle is _BELLEFEMMENOIRE. That's _ Femme Noir. And friends, just in case you have not had the opportunity to leave a review, we would encourage you to do so. This way we will continue to move up the charts and ultimately be able to expand and reach more individuals, to empower them, to encourage them, and to provide them with tangible application in their lives so that they can grow, so that they can share, and so that they can encourage other people. And just in case if you're not connected with us on social media, we would encourage you to use the hashtag SYSP to tag us on Facebook, to tag us on Twitter, to tag us on Instagram, or you can just mention us at SYS Podcast 1, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram as well. We'd love to shout you out for showing love. We appreciate all the love that you all have shown thus far. Now let's go ahead and get into today's topic, because this episode is for the fathers. Happy Father's Day. I wanted to start this episode off with a letter that I wrote to my father. And I was saving this letter specifically for today. And this letter I actually wrote to my dad May 25th, 2006. And the letter reads, Dear Dad, I was thinking about you and I thought to myself, I never really sat down and took the time deserved to say thank you and to tell you how much you have impacted me. So thank you, Dad, for showing me how to be honest and showing me the important lessons in life, such as showing me how important it is to save my money, and also teaching my brother and I how important it is to have an education. And one of the most important things you have showed me is to have dignity, believe in yourself, because if you don't, then nobody else will either. A very wise man taught me that lesson along with many others and Bible verses to follow. Another reason I'd like to thank you for all the hard hours working all day in that office just so that we can have a beautiful family meal at the Georgian Club, or the extra job you picked up working on the Christmas holiday so that you can see the smiles on our faces when we see our new bikes that you rolled out the garage. I know I said it a couple of times, but please, can I reiterate it just in case you didn't hear me? Thank you, Dad, pushing and striving for excellence. Your second son, Jonathan J. Jones. And friends, that letter I wrote to my dad, 2006, so that would be 12 years ago, and I still have it to this day. I want to encourage you to take a moment and to give flowers to those men who are still living, even if they might have passed away. I would encourage you to take time and reflect on an individual who may be your father, who may be a father-like figure, who may be a mentor in your life. But I encourage you to take a moment and just shoot them a text, give them a call, reach out, allow them to understand that they've made an impact in your life in some way, shape, or form. because I believe that fathers play a very pivotal role in our society. And I know many times people joke about Father's Day and they say, Father's Day isn't really celebrated, or, you're going to get him a tie, going to get him a new pair of socks, or whatever these things might be. However, even if you just give them an encouraging word to let them know that their work hasn't been in void. Yes, this is not required. However, I feel it's something that we should do. So first things first, I feel that we should, one, give an encouraging word to this individual, just to let them know that we've seen their hard work, we've seen their efforts, and we appreciate what they've done. Number two, feel free to maybe buy them a dinner or maybe buy them something to eat, because I believe that everybody can enjoy a good meal, and maybe your father-like figure might be able to do the same, because working diligently and serving in that role might be something that hasn't been the easiest for that individual. So if take them out, take them to medieval times, I don't know, take them somewhere, do something for this individual. But lastly, just spend a moment with them. If they're not within close proximity of you, then write a letter or something like that. But I just think this is needed to show our men that we appreciate them, to show our men that we love them, and to show our men that we have not forgotten about them. Because yes, we love celebrating our mothers on Mother's Day, and I think that is awesome, and I think that's phenomenal. However, sometimes I feel that being a male, I feel that sometimes, depending on your situation, depending on where you are, sometimes there might be a point in a time where the man needs a little bit of affirmation. That the man who is strong also needs somebody else to encourage him in his journey, because sometimes life might get heavy on him as well. The burden might be difficult for him to bear as well. So I just want us to take a time and take a moment today. Write a letter, send a text, put in a call, have a conversation, take them to dinner, or just sit with them. Just sit and allow them to feel your presence and allow them to know that you're there specifically for them. You don't want anything else. You just want to be in their presence to appreciate them. Can we do that, friends? Now we're going to go ahead and transition into the What Are You Listening To segment. And friends, if this is your first time joining us, the What Are You Listening To segment was created so that I can shed light on other podcasts. I can shed light on other artists who I might be listening to, their music, etc. And this first podcast I want to recommend, this is the Pink Lemonade podcast. The host is Miss Whitney Barkley. And I went back and I've listened to some of her episodes. And this past week, I was just listening to, this weekend actually, I was listening to a few of the episodes, but one that really stuck out to me was why being consistent is part of trusting the process. She began to go on and share her journey and become really transparent with us. And that's one thing I really enjoy about the Pink Lemonade podcast, because the transparency is refreshing, as well as the real, tangible life lessons and life experiences that she shares with us. She doesn't pull anything back. So thank you, Whitney. I would encourage you to check her out, Pink Lemonade Podcast. After you listen to a podcast episode, be sure to leave a review so you can help her podcast grow, because she's doing great things. And I love the content that she's doing. The second podcast, I was actually referred to by a gentleman I met a couple weeks ago. This one's entitled Ear Hustle. And as I began to listen, I was like, what are they talking about? Are these guys really in prison? This is wow. In Ear Hustle, this podcast brings you stories of life inside prison, shared and produced by those living in it. Wow. The host, Mr. Woods, as well as Antoine Williams, currently incarcerated at San Quentin. They pump out a podcast, and you hear tangible stories from individuals who are locked up in San Quentin. It's just amazing to hear their perspective. I was listening to an episode the other day, and one gentleman began to say that although some people are on death row and some people are locked up, they get the opportunity to go outside at times. This particular gentleman had a hospital visit because the individuals inside the prison couldn't treat him. And he said he began to explain that it was somewhat like a field trip, because he began to see houses and he began to see buildings. And he stated that these almost didn't even seem real, because that's how long he had been locked up at that point. It's just amazing to hear their perspective and to hear where they're coming from just a different train of thought than we might typically be used to. So I would encourage you to check out that podcast as well. That's just one. It might be for you. It might not. Either way, it's fine. But those are the podcasts that are on our What Are You Listening To segment this week. And now, with it being Father's Day weekend, with us celebrating our fathers, today I want to put a spotlight on this gentleman. He goes by the name of Jesse Ross. He is a personal and professional development guru. When you talk about personal and professional development, and if you say this is something that's your passion, you have to, one, invest into yourself through personal and professional development. So you take it serious there. But also, I believe that you have to have a heart for people. You have to have a true love in wanting to see other people grow, pouring into other people, being diligent with the information that you know and you've received. And that's why I wanted to select Mr. Jesse Ross today, because he's not only a personal and professional development guru, he's also the author of Fathers Matter. Father's Day. This makes sense, right? It just makes sense. He resides in the Twin Cities of Minnesota. He's a father of 3, and he's all about relationships. He's all about transparency, and he always keeps it authentic and true to himself. Without further ado, can we welcome into the winner circle of the week, Mr. Jesse Ross. If you'd like to connect with him, I would encourage you to go on Instagram and Twitter and find him at Mr. J. Ross. Or you can visit his website, MrJesseRoss.com, and that's Mr. MR. So MrJesseRoss.com. We'll have his information down in the show notes. And now he even transitions us into the quote of the week. The quote of the week was something I heard Mr. J. Ross share at a conference in Daytona, Florida a little bit earlier this year. We began to go around and share thoughts and share what was on our heart. And he began to say, everything you need is in the house. When he said that, I said, ooh, run that back. He said, that's right. He said, one thing my granddad used to tell me is everything you need is in the house. And friends, hearing that quote, I just want to take it and share it with us and expound a little bit upon the quote. Because hearing that, I began to think about relationships. I began to think about individuals that I'm doing life with, because J. Ross, as well as I am, a part of a group called G-Men. And he made that quote at the table because he was looking all around at us, and he began to realize that each and every person had something of value to add to this group. Each and every person had a different gift to bring forth. And ultimately, this would allow somebody else to benefit from that gift. Understanding that we don't need to go outside of the house, because all the things that we need, any question that we can ask, too young or too old, is in the house. If we ask the question, we can receive the answer within the house. How many times have you asked a parent, asked a close friend, asked a relative for something particular, right? You asked them for insight on a relationship. You asked a spiritual advisor, whomever it might be, and then they gave you an answer. However, that answer wasn't sufficient enough for you. So you say, you know what? I mean, that's cool. I can appreciate what you said, but I'm going to go get a second opinion. And then you got that second opinion. You say, you know what? That's cool. Whatever. But I'm going to get another opinion. J. Ross is letting us know right here that everything we need is in the house. If you ask an individual that you trust and you feel that their opinion carries weight, as well as they have good credibility, then take that opinion. However, take that opinion, but then measure it with yourself and decide if that's the way you want to go. But once again, friends, our winner circle of the week, as well as our quote of the week, comes from Mr. J. Ross. Let's give it up for him. And now, friends, understanding that it's Father's Day, and this is a special Father's Day, Happy Father's Day episode, we want to bring something to you from Amazon. We have an Amazon special deal this week. If you have been dragging your feet, and if you haven't purchased your Father's Day gift just yet, we have this special offer for a Amazon Fire TV Cube. This is brand new. This hasn't even been released yet. But we're going to add the link down at the bottom of our show notes so you can place your order in so that your father can be the first to get the Amazon Fire TV. You definitely want to get this. You definitely want to get this Amazon Fire TV Cube just for listening to the Speak Your Success podcast. We're giving you this link. You can click it down in the show notes to get more information about it. I was looking at it. It's pretty innovative, and honestly, it's pretty dope. Yeah, it's pretty dope. So check it out. Be sure to place that order to let your dad know he can get all the channels. He can get everything that he needs, but you want to go ahead and place that order. All right, friends. Now we're going to go ahead and get ready to close ourselves out. And just so you have the opportunity to interact and chime in with us. I would encourage you, if you think that you have somebody that you would like to nominate for Winner Circle of the Week, or if you feel that you could be Winner Circle of the Week, please send us a DM at SYS Podcast 1. Tell us why you should be that person, or feel free to submit us a topic on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook. Hey, whichever one works best for you. Or if you would even like to sponsor the podcast, I would encourage you to send an email to jonathan@jonathanjonespeaks.com. And friends, for more information on me, period, just go to jonathanjonespeaks.com. Looking to get a bulk order of books, looking to bring out a speaker or an MC, or if you would like to do a workshop with your young men, with your students, or even professional development, go to jonathanjonespeaks.com and just click that booking tab and we can get you squared away. Without further ado, TEDx speaker and best-selling author Jonathan Jones reminding you to have a happy Father's Day, but also remember to speak your success, believe in your greatness, and continue to create the life and business of your dreams. Why would you want to live any other way?